Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jess, and in today's Valentine's Day special, we are going to be making Betty the Heart-Winged Butterfly. This is such a fun pattern that we worked up last year, but if you are like me and you prefer watching videos for your amigurumi, then this video is for you. So let's gather some supplies and we will jump into the pattern. So for today's pattern, I'm going to be using this Parfait chunky yarn in the color Coral. And this is what I'm going to be using for the main body. And this is just like a really bright pink. The other one I've made before, they're a little bit more muted, so I wanted to go bright with this one. And I'm going to also need some white yarn. I'm just using, this is just Honey Bunny in white. I'm going to be using my Furls crochet hook. It's a 5.5 millimeter. And I'm also going to need my darning needle, my scissors, a stitch marker, some fabric pins. We'll need a little bit of black yarn for the face detailing. I have here some 16 millimeter safety eyes if you are using safety eyes. Otherwise, you can embroider eyes as well. And we're also going to need some fiber fill. So once we have all of our supplies gathered, we can jump into the pattern. All right, so to start, we are going to grab our color A yarn. So for me, it's that coral color. And we are going to start off with the head. So I'm going to make my magic ring. And you should know how to do a magic ring and crochet in the round before you start this project. So inside our magic ring, we're going to place 8 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now this yarn is kind of notorious for not pulling. Oh, I got lucky. I got lucky with that one. Now I'm just going to grab my stitch marker. I just like to use a scrap strand of yarn for my stitch marker if you've watched my videos before, but you're going to place your marker here. Moving on for round 2, we're going to do an increase round. So an increase is 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. So 1 and 2, and we're going to repeat that all the way around, and we should have a stitch count of 16 at the end of round 2. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. For round 3, we're going to do the combination single crochet 1 and an increase stitch. So 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. And we're going to repeat that a total of 8 times for a stitch count of 24 at the end of round 3. Single crochet, increase, all the way around. All right. Moving on for rounds 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, so 5 rounds total, we're going to do single crochet 24. So that's 1 single crochet in each stitch around for rounds 4 through 8. So I will complete these rounds off camera, and then I'll meet you back here for the next step. All right, so that is up to round 8. Now moving on. For round 9, we're going to start decreasing down. So we're going to do the combination single crochet 1 and a decrease. I like to do invisible decrease, so front loop of this first stitch here, front loop of the second stitch, yarn over, pull through both those loops, yarn over, pull through. So you just turned 2 stitches into 1. So we're going to repeat single crochet, decrease all the way around, a total of 8 times, and you should be back down to 16 stitches at the end of round 9. All right. So we're just going to pause here. We're going to place our eyes and we're going to stuff our head. Now, normally I would stuff my head first and then I would place my eyes. I just like to see what it looks like with the stuffing in before I place my eyes. So I'm just going to add a little bit of stuffing here. You can always take it out. It's just too many times I've placed eyes then stuffed and not liked where the eyes were placed, and then you can't really go back after that. And it always to me looks different once it's stuffed. So when I'm stuffing, I always just like to sweep the stuffing out to the edges and then fill the center. That way I know that everything is being filled. Now I usually like to keep my stitch marker work on the back, and so this will be the front of my work here. So I'm going to take my safety eyes and I'm going to place my eyes on rounds 6 and 7 of the head. So I'm going to just count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6 and 7. So I'm just going to place one eye like that. And then we want about 5 to 6 stitches in between. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So perhaps like right here. Keeping in mind that we are going to shape this and we're going to bring in the eyes a little bit. So you want to just keep that in mind when you're placing the eyes. You don't want them to be too close together to start off with. So 3, 4, 5, 6. Just kind of push them in a little bit to see what it's going to look like, and then whatever one you like best is what you should do. So I'm going to do 5, I think. So I'll just take my stuffing out now, and I'm just going to place my backings. And I also started focusing more on making sure that these things are safe. So I started just adding basically a burn to the back here. It looks like there we go. So I just basically burn the back of this and then I push it against the cardboard, and that makes it so that it's flat. So if I do give this to a child, I know that it's safe. So I'm just going to do that. Just like that. I don't know if you can see that, but now it's like really flat. So I know that it's not gonna pop off and cause a kid to choke on it. Just got to be careful. Obviously, be extra careful when you're working with fire, and I'm sure other people may have other suggestions for this, but this is just kind of what I've decided I want to do. Here we go. So now we can turn that back right side out. And I'm just going to add my stuffing back in. Here we go. And there is so far our head, and we will continue on. All right, so moving on to round 10, we're going to do a full decrease round. So that's going to be 8 decrease stitches. So 1 decrease in each 2 stitches around, we're basically going back down really small, and then we're going to go back out with the body. So the body and the head are going to be one solid piece, just to limit sewing. So we're just gonna continue along, decreasing, and you should have a total of 8 stitches at the end of this round. And then I also suggest adding a little bit more stuffing or finish stuffing your head, because next round we're going to go down to 6 stitches and it's going to be more difficult to get stuffing in. So I just like to make sure that I'm happy with the stuffing. So for the final round of the head, this is kind of more the neck. We're going to do the combination single crochet 2, 1, 2, and a decrease. And we're going to repeat that one more time. 1, 2, and a decrease. And this section is always the hardest because the stitches are so close together, so just take your time. Here we go. So there is our head and our little neck there completed, and we're just going to work directly into the body, so don't tie off. We're just going to move on here to round 12. All right, so for round 12, we're going to do an increase round. So we have 6 stitches right now. We're going to increase, so that's going to be 2 single crochets in each stitch around. So you should have 12 stitches at the end of this round. So we're widening back up again. And I am just going to try and stuff a little bit of stuffing in the neck here. All right. Moving on to round 13, we're going to do single crochet 2, 1, 2, and an increase. We're going to repeat that 4 times for a stitch count of 16. 1, 2, increase. All right, now moving on for rounds 14 and 15. So that's 2 rounds. We're just going to do single crochet 16. So 1 single crochet in each stitch around for rounds 14 and 15. So I will complete these off camera and I'll meet you back here for round 16. All right, for round 16, we're going to do the combination single crochet 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a decrease. I'm going to repeat that one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, decrease. And you should have 14 stitches. Now for rounds 17 and 18, 2 rounds again, we're going to do single crochet 14. So 1 single crochet round for the 2 rounds. right, moving on for round 19, we're going to do the combination single crochet 5 and a decrease. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a decrease. And we're going to repeat that one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a decrease. You should have 12 stitches at this point. So for rounds 20 and 21, we're going to do single crochet 12. So 1 stitch in each for 2 rounds. And then I'm also going to stuff after these 2 rounds, the body here, before we get too tight. So complete these 2 rounds and stuff the rest of your body, and we'll meet back here for the next round. Okay, this is what we're looking like. So moving on for round 22, we're going to do the combination single crochet 4 and a decrease. 3, 4, and a decrease. We'll repeat that twice for a stitch count of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a decrease. For round 23, we're going to do single crochet 10. 1, 2, 3. Okay, add a little bit more stuffing. For round 24, we're going to do the combination single crochet 3 and a decrease. 1, 2, 3, decrease. And repeat that one more time for a stitch count of 8. 1, 2, 3, decrease. And then for our final round, we're going to decrease all the way down to 4 stitches. So I'm just going to add my last bit of stuffing here before we decrease down to a point where I can't fit any stuffing in. Just take a little bit out. All right, and for round 25, the last round, we're just going to do 4 decrease stitches. 1, 2. These are tight quarters, so just take your time. 3, and 1 more. 4. Take my stitch marker out, and I'm just going to slip stitch to the next stitch here. And we'll just pull that through. Next, I'm just going to take my darning needle, and I'm just going to gather those final stitches up. I'm just going to tie a little knot as well. And then just weave in my end. And that is our head and body part completed. Okay, so once we have completed the head and the body, we're going to do the face shaping. So I'm just going to take my darning needle with my black yarn here. Now for this portion of the face shaping, your yarn does not have to be black. And then we'll do the smile. I'm going to do black, but you can do whatever color you want. So that's kind of personal preference. So to start off with our face shaping, I'm going to take my darning needle and I'm going to insert it as close to the eye as possible, right at the very top of the eye. I just really want to get in there. And then I'm going to push that over to the side to the same spot. You just want it really close. Ideally, sometimes you just can't get under those stitches, but I'm going to try. Then I'm going to pull that through. Next, I'm just going to find the spot on the bottom. Same thing, just going to try and get as close as I can to the bottom of the eye. And then I'm just going to push this back to the back of the head here. Now we want this strand of yarn to be on the inside of the eye. We'll go ahead and do that to the other side as well. And then again, push it to the back. Okay, then we're just going to pull those. Now you'll notice when you pull, it will bring in your eyes. So you want to just pull it to kind of where you think looks best. Everybody may pull it a little bit different, and that's okay. Make sure they're even. This is just giving a little bit of definition right here. It's creating kind of like the bridge of the nose, or where the nose would be. Once you're happy with that, we'll just make a knot. And I'm just going to cut that. And I'm just going to take a smaller hook here and I'm going to weave that in. There we go. So there is that. Now next I'm going to make the smile. So again, like I said, I'm going to be using the black yarn again. So to start, we're going to insert our needle here at the bottom of round 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the bottom of where our eye is. We're going to insert about 1 stitch away. Sometimes I have to do like half a stitch. Like I'm going to split that stitch so it equals 1. So we're going to do that. Next, we're going to go over to the same spot on the other side. So I'm going to insert it right here. So we're about 3 stitches apart on the top. And then we're going to insert it about, so we're going to insert it 1 row down and halfway between the 2 points, like that. Next, we're going to go up through this loop here. And there is our smile, like that. Then we're just going to go right back into this bottom piece here where we're at right here. We're going to go back into there, and I'm just going to push this over to where I started. There we go. And once I'm happy with that, I am just going to tie a knot here. and just don't tie it too tight here because you may pull your yarn into the plush yarn, and then you won't be able to see it. So I'm just going to weave that in. Go. And there is my face shaping done and my smile done. Okay, so next we are going to do the antennas. So I'm going to pull my color B yarn. So for me it's the white. Whatever it is for you, just grab that yarn. That's what we're going to start with for the antenna. And we're going to start off with a magic ring. Inside our magic ring here, I just like to pre-pull my rings. Hopefully that works. We're going to place 4 single crochets. 2, 3, 4, and pull that. And I'm going to grab my stitch marker. Now the antenna is pretty tiny, so it's kind of sometimes hard to get into these stitches, so just take your time, okay? Now moving on, for round 2, we're going to do the combination single crochet. Just going to get into my stitch here. Go. Single crochet and an increase. So 2 single crochets in 1, and we'll repeat that again. Single crochet and an increase. So you should have 6 stitches. Go. Now moving on for round 3, we're going to do single crochet 6. So 1 single crochet in each stitch around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That. Now I just like to, just going to cut my center yarn tail a little bit here from my magic ring, and I like to just stuff my yarn tail in there because this space is so small. It's, in my opinion, a little bit better than using fiber fill. So I'm just going to do that. Now for round 4, we're going to do the combination single crochet 1 and a decrease. We'll repeat that again. Single crochet and a decrease. And after this stitch here, we are going to change colors. If I can get it. 1. Working in these tight stitches can be so difficult. I'm going to pull through. I'm going to leave these 2 stitches on my hook here, and I'm going to cut my yarn. And then I'm going to grab my coral color, and I'm going to grab that onto my hook and pull it through these 2 loops. That's going to finish off this previous color, and it's going to add our new one. And all I'm going to do here is just make a knot to tie those off. So now we have the new color attached. So now moving forward for rounds 5, 6, and 7, so 3 rounds, we're going to do single crochet 4. So 1 single crochet in each stitch around for 3 rounds. So I'm going to complete these rounds off camera, and I will meet you back here. Okay, so at the end of round 7 there, we're all done. So I'm just going to make a slip stitch here. And I'm going to cut my yarn. And I'm also just going to cut these tails on the center. And I'm just going to pull this through here. Now we will need to go make 2 of these. So go back and make 1 more antenna. And then we will meet back here to sew these on. Okay, so I made a mistake. I accidentally sewed this one on and I forgot to push record. So what we're doing is we're sewing on our antennas that we have now, and we are attaching them to rounds 3 and 4 of the head. So all we did, which you didn't see, is count down. So this is round 1 right here. So round 1, 2, so rounds 3 and 4, I just placed some fabric pins. I like to anchor kind of where I'm going to place my stuffies, like appendages. And we're going to do it in line with this round right here. So this is kind of where we're going to place it. And I'm just going to place this on my darning needle here. And again, I just want to make sure that my good side is facing forward. So this color change right here, I kind of want that to be near the back. So I'm going to just place this here, and I'm just going to roughly pin it like that. And then I'm going to sew it on. Here we go. And then I just like to make a little knot here. And I'm just going to push that down into the back here. And then I just like to place a little knot in this one, just to extra secure the antenna there. Cut that. And we will weave in these ends. Now, normally I would curve these antennae. So normally I would take a piece of white yarn, tie it to the tip here, and weave it up and down, all the way down to the bottom, tie it off, and give it a pull, and that will curve the antenna. But because this is a two-toned antenna and they're very different colors, you would be able to see the white yarn through here, and I don't really want that. So I'm just going to leave mine uncurved, and I'm just going to curve them myself. They obviously won't stay perfectly like that all the time, but if you want to curve it, you can do that. Like I said, just tie right here, weave it all the way down through the rows, and then tie it off here, and it will create this like curve. It will keep its shape a little bit better. But I'm happy with how he looks, or she, so I'm just going to leave it. If I was doing the same colors or something similar in color shade, I would maybe do it, but these are so drastic in color, I think you would notice. So that is the head completed. Now we just have to work on the wings. All right, so next we're going to work on the heart, and I'm just going to bring us in. Now the heart, the initial round of the heart is all worked into the magic ring. I struggle quite a lot with yarn like this, especially the Parfait Chunky, because it doesn't pull from the center very well, especially with that many stitches. So for this heart, you don't have to do this, but this is kind of something that I've been doing. I'm just going to take like a worsted weight. This is just a cotton yarn. It's like a size 4. It really doesn't matter what you use, just as long as it's smaller than your chunky yarn. I'm going to use this for my magic ring because it's guaranteed to pull like closed, and once you pull it closed, because we're using the chunky yarn, you won't be able to see this. So that's kind of what I'm going to do. So we're going to start off with a magic ring here. Now we're making two sides of hearts, so we're going to start with the small heart here. Okay, so now that I have my magic ring in the cotton yarn, I'm just going to cut that because we're not going to continue. It's just there for the magic ring. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to take my yarn and I'm going to put that on like that. And if I can find my end here, I'm just going to tighten that. All right. So I'm going to keep those ends to the side, and now we just want to make sure we're working over the long tail and the ring. So for the heart, like I said, the first round, everything is going to be working directly into the magic ring. So to start, we're going to make a double crochet. Like that. Next, we're going to do 3 triple crochets. So you wrap your yarn twice, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. So there's 1. And this is 2. And this is 3. Next, we're going to do 4 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to chain 2, and that completes 1/2 of our heart. Now we're going to move down to the other side. We're going to work backwards. So we're going to start off with 4 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, then 3 triple crochets or trebles. 2, 1, that's 2. Just gonna pull my, and then 3, like that. A double crochet, and then we're going to finish off with a slip stitch. Then I'm going to take my long tail here and I'm going to pull it shut. There we go. So you can't even see it. And that is the first round of our small heart. Okay, so from here we're going to change our color. So I've just pulled that slip stitch really tight because that's what's going to like create that heart shape. And from here I'm just going to grab my white yarn. We're going to do the outline or the second round here in white. And I'm just going to tie this together. Like that. Now we have our white attached, and moving on to round 2, we're going to do the combination single crochet, increase, and we're going to repeat that a total of 2 times. So single crochet, increase, Next, we're going to do 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next, we're going to do 3 single crochets in this chain 2 space that we made. So 1, 2, 3. Now, if you're going to miss a stitch during this, this is going to be the one. So sometimes I like to count back here. So here's my double crochet, here's my 3 triple crochets, and then here's my 4 double crochets. So this stitch right here is the one we want to go into. Working back up the side of the heart, we're going to do 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to do increase, single crochet, and we're going to increase again and single crochet. Then we're just going to slip stitch back into that spot. And I'm just going to cut a decent sized piece of yarn, and I'm going to cut off this color because we're not using it. And I'm just going to pull this through. My table's uneven, so my crochet hooks keeps rolling away. I want this to pull. There we go. And I'm going to re-pull the center here of this heart. This is going to go back like that. And there you go. You have your very first heart that is part of your wing. And then on the back here, just to secure this, I'm just going to tie this in a knot to secure that pull, because it is a lot of stitches that you're pulling together, so they may automatically kind of migrate apart. So that's the great thing about working with plush yarn, is that this yarn is really you're not gonna be able to see it. So we're gonna make one more of these, and then we're gonna go ahead and make 2 big hearts. So go back, make one more of these, and then we'll meet back here to make the big hearts, and then we will sew them together and sew them on our body. All right, now for the big hearts, we're doing the same thing. The first 2 rounds are the exact same. And we're going to start off with this cotton yarn again, just because I find it easier. So we'll go through the first 2 rounds together again. Just gonna... So I'm just going to be using that coral color again for the inner piece. I know this seems like more work, but I promise you, once you've made 100 hearts and they won't pull, you get so frustrated. This is definitely worth the extra time it takes. All right, so now that we're there, we're going to do our heart first. So first, double crochet, 3 triple crochets, 1, pull through, whoopsies, through 2, pull through 2, this is 2, and 3. Next, we're going to do 4 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, and 4, chain 2. Just going to tighten this a little bit. I find it easier to work into when it's a little bit smaller. Starting off here, 4 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 triple crochets or treble crochets, 1, 2, 3, double crochet, and last we're going to just do a slip stitch, and we're going to pull that center pull to close up our heart in the center there. Now for round 2 of the large heart here, we are going to keep using the coral color. So we just want to make sure here that we have the right stitch. And I'm just trying to tighten my slip stitch here without breaking my yarn. So for round 2, we're going to do single crochet and an increase, single crochet, increase. Then we're going to do 4 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4. Next, we're going to do those 3 single crochets in that chain 2 space, 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to do 4 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to do increase, single crochet, increase, single crochet, and a slip stitch here. And this yarn just really doesn't like to pull, but so there is round 2 of our big heart. So now for round 3, we are going to swap over to our white yarn, our color B yarn. So from that slip stitch there, I'm just going to swap that over, and I'm going to tie these together. Like that. And I'm just going to cut this pink yarn because we're all done with that. All right. So now for round 3, we're going to do the combination single crochet 1, and an increase. I'm going to do that 3 times. So single crochet, increase, single crochet, and increase. Next, we're going to do single crochet 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we should be at the point here. This is our 3 single crochets in our chain 2 space. So working next, we're going to do 1 increase stitch. So 2 single crochets in 1, that. Then we're going to work 5 back up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next, we're going to do an increase and then a single crochet. And we're going to repeat that 3 times again. So increase, single crochet, increase, and a single crochet. And I'm just going to slip stitch back into our slip stitch from before. Again, I'm just going to cut a decent amount of white yarn just because I have to sew. And I want to make sure that I have enough. I've got lots going on the back of this thing, so I'm going to have to trim all that down. And there we have our large heart. So our small heart and our large heart, we're going to make them into one to create the wing. So make sure you have 2 large hearts, 2 small hearts. Once you have that, we'll meet back here and we will sew it together and we will attach to the body. All right, so I have here a big heart and a little heart, and you're going to want 2 of each. So now we're going to attach these together and then we are going to sew them onto the body. Now I have already attached one. Now when we are attaching these, we want to make sure that we have the big hearts on the top and the little hearts on the bottom, and we want to make sure we have the good side of the stitches facing forward. So this one is going to be on this side because that's how that works with the big one on top and the little one on the bottom. So this is how this one is going to sit on this side. So once we have that set, what we're going to do first is we're going to, and I will just say I did weave in all my ends off camera just because there were quite a lot and I didn't want to have to do that and bore you all. So you can do that now or you can do that later. So basically what we're going to do is this strand here is what we're going to use to sew these together, but it's not in the right spot. So I'm going to weave mine through to meet over on the side. So all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go along the edge under these stitches and you'll never see this. So just going to pull this through. And I'm just going to go to the corner to start. Now all I've done right here is I've just lined up bad side to bad side with the edge that I'm sewing together. So this is the edge I'm sewing together. Now we want the tip of our heart to line up like this. And so we probably want to just go one more stitch here. There we go. And that's probably where I'm going to start sewing. So I'm going to sew about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stitches along the side. Now we're going to sew back loop to back loop. So back loop of one stitch to the back loop of the next stitch. And I'm just going to go along, back loop to back loop. And sew these together. And now these are ready to sew on our body. So I'm just going to grab the other one here, and they are going to become the wings like this. Now before we sew these on, I'm just going to move my yarn tail to the edge so that I can sew this on from one end to the other. And I'm just going in the back loop of each of these stitches, so you won't even be able to see it. Like that. Now we're going to flip over our butterfly here. I almost said dragonfly. My brain kind of went a little bit there. And I'm going to just do this quickly on the other side as well. You can always attach another piece of yarn if you don't want to do this step, but to me that just sounds like more yarn tails to weave in, so I'd rather just use one piece. Okay, so we have this and we have this. So now we're going to flip these over and we're going to just pin them to the back of our bodies. And we want to pin them on a bit of an angle. So at the top you have your big heart going down to your little heart, and it should be kind of on an angle, wider at the top and then kind of closer to the bottom is a little bit skinnier. And then with this one we're going to do the same thing. Just like that. And I'm just going to look on the front to make sure that that's even. And then I'm just going to take my darning needle here and find which one I'm attached to, which is the other one up here, and I'm going to just start sewing this on. Here we go. Put that right there. Now I'm just going to go ahead and sew on the other side the exact same way, and then we'll meet back here. Alright, and that is your completed heart butterfly. I hope you guys really enjoyed this pattern. It's a pretty easy make. I'd say the hearts and the wings are definitely the hardest part. Let us know in the comments down below if there's any other patterns you're hoping to see. Otherwise, we hope you have a lovely Valentine's Day with whoever you love, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!